Hi, Rick, congratulations. You won your some certificate for high quality crystal gasoline. Down to the excerpts.
Got a nice picture, Steph. This is.
I said, Rolando, with one exception, it's a tremendous strikeout walk ratio for this level. I mean, you know, the pitchers. I mean, the strikeout walk. One thing that has never changed and never will change is what goes on between the lines and in the clubhouse. The dynamics of the relationships and the promotion circumstance and everyone's story, that will never change. Everything that goes on in the business sense has been escalated much beyond the scope that anyone could have foreseen at that time. But the stories in that clubhouse and on that field are precisely the same as they were 26 years ago. And I would love to go through it all again.
What's the most memorable story you've heard?
It's the most memorable story. That's a hard one. I'm not prepared to answer that one. I remember managers telling me the hardest thing they have to do is cut somebody. Yep. The guys have, I mean, they all have their stories. I had a guy tell me stories just to get in the book. You know, I think he made them up, but he, seriously, he wanted to be in the book, so he got in the book. But it's just a matter of seeing at the lowest level, seeing the people, you know, knowing they have dreams and aspirations. Seeing how hard they work, seeing what they go through, seeing the frustration, but seeing some things. See, here's what people don't understand at the big league level. They don't understand this, and most people don't understand at all, even at this level, that it is on any given night in the summer, the best game of baseball, technically, that will be played that night doesn't have to be in the big leagues. For one night, it could be in this league, it could be in the Appalachian League, it could be in the Midwest League, it could be in the PCL. It doesn't matter. For one night, come back the next night, and the same players will perform in a little league level, perhaps, because it's all about consistency. But if you want, you never know what you're going to see. We saw a guy tonight strike out 9 people in the first 10 people in 3 2/3 innings. He didn't finish the ball game. Yep. And I know he's done this before this season. We saw 3 guys thrown out stealing on great throws. So we saw some excellent baseball. And wherever the best game of baseball was tonight, it didn't necessarily have to take place in Boston or New York. It may very well have taken place in Eugene, Oregon. Who knows?
Is it baseball your favorite sport?
Yes, always was. I think it's the best game ever invented by man. It's an incredible luck of the draw that Alexander Cartwright codified this game, made it 90 feet, did the things that were necessary to make it the organized game that it is today, and I'm glad he did.
Anything new? If you were the commissioner of baseball, what would you do to improve this?
I would, at the highest level, the game is overmanaged. It's totally micromanaged to the point of boredom. I would let pitchers go longer. I would go back to 4-man rotations. Without question, the micromanagement of baseball, the specialization of baseball, and get rid of the DH without question. It's an eyesore and an abomination. I would try to make the game a little bit more as it was in its best days, and maybe let him leave the runners on the field.
Ted Williams, is he right in considering Joe Jackson for the Hall of Fame?
That's a sticky wicket. You know, you read conflicting accounts of what actually happened, and he hit 375, and did he do anything bad? Did he just not report the bribe? I'd like to believe that Joe Jackson was a ill-educated, misled rube who maybe took the money and then knew he couldn't throw the baseball games and should be forgiven for who he was and what he was. And to answer your next question, the answer is no, never, until he says I did it, and I'll drive Pete Rose right to the airport and put him in. People don't understand why Pete Rose was suspended. He was suspended for very good reasons. He's banned for life for a very good reason, and he has proven he likes gambling more than baseball. It's that simple.
Boy, I tell you, anticipated that, didn't he? It's good for you. Did you cry when we were watching the AllStar Game?
It was hard not to be misty. Yeah. It was one of those things that had they scripted it, it never would have worked. Yeah. It was totally spontaneous. It was a wonderful moment, and at that moment when it was over, the PA announcer could have said, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Drive home safely," because there was no need for a ball game.
Yeah.
For 22 years, he wore the uniform of the United States Marines for 4.5 more. He owned left field at this very ballpark. He was the last man to hit 400 in a season, and he did it 58 years ago. He hit 521 home runs, including one on his last at-bat. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest hitter that ever lived, number 9, Hall of Famer, baseball legend, Ted Williams.
Try as hard as we can and hope that this moment translates on television. The feelings that we're getting here at Fenway Park at this 70th Midsummer Classic.
I would have to say the 6th game of the 1975 World Series. That World Series in general, and the 6th game, starting with Bernie Carbo's home run, the last 4 innings of that game, with the tension and the stakes involved, were as good as baseball gets for drama, and culminating with the great New England hero hitting the game-winning home run. If you could have just frozen everything right there and saved the Red Sox one more heartache in the 7th game of the World Series, it would have been better off. But that game was spectacular. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
There it goes, the long drive. If it stays fair, home run. Body English for Carl Rufus. Watch him. How many steps does he take? 1. He waits to see it. Get over. Get over. He knew it. There it is.
Who'd you work for then?
I was still with I've only worked for one paper.
Sir?
One paper, Boston Globe.
Yeah.
31 years.
No kidding. Well, you know, just a little historical vignette. Here in little old Jamestown, Faulkner, New York, is the hometown of Hugh Bedient. And
Red Sox.
1912,
Yeah.
beat Christy Mathewson,
Yeah.
huge local hero, and for years he lived here till the early 1960s. But that's our linkage to the Boston Red Sox.
Very good. Oh, I studied the list of the names of who have come through here and played for the various organizations, and you know, I just so happy to be in a place where there's a nice little history, and you know, it's not that the nice part. The new parks are nice, but you don't need them. This is, you don't need a new park at this level. I love this is the way to me. This way, look around the polls, look out there, think about what's going on here in the last 58 years. This is the way minor league baseball should be.
Has Welland's Own treated you well?
Nah. Yes, I was taken care of. We were treated like royalty. It was very kind.
That's terrific.